Well, 3 years now since the Paris Climate Agreement. The UN Secretary General warning this week about the risks of runaway global warming. Here to take the temperature on the global fight to curb climate change is our international affairs commentator, Douglas Herbert. Hi, Doug. No major world leaders at this conference that comes later this year. We've got business leaders, mayors, activists, etc., focusing on the fight really at a local level. Is that really an effective way of meeting the Paris targets?
Yes and no. It's in a sense it's the way forward because there's a real growing sense you can't wait for national governments to do it. There's been a lot of disillusionment so far with states keeping up with their commitments even under Paris, which you were talking about. So what's happening is you're getting cities, you're getting towns, you're getting entire regions stepping up to the plate, so to speak, and basically putting their money where their mouth is and trying to get something going. California, its governor, the sponsor of this San Francisco conference, California has already pledged to be basically carbon neutral, 100% renewable energy by 2045. It says it will be sucking more greenhouse gases out of the atmosphere than it emits by that time thereafter. That is a giant goal, and it's trying to sort of act as a spur. What this conference is doing is saying, hey, look, here's what we're all doing at the local levels to their national governments, trying to give them a little kickstart to get them going. If they're inclined to lose incentive to say, we're going to make it easier for you by starting at the grassroots to a bottom-up sort of initiative to make things happen. There's a UN sort of run repository, a group, which actually monitors a number of these local pledges. And it's had recently, as of now, 12,500 pledges by some 2,500 cities in hundreds of regions. That's quite a lot. And businesses are also taking a part, as you mentioned. 800 businesses or more now worth about $17 trillion are involved in some way or other in green efforts. So it's a massive movement forward. Whether it's going to make up for states being committed and all of that, absolutely not. And in fact, there are obstacles pushing the other way, forces pushing the other way as well, undermining these initiatives.
That's what I was about to say. The reality is that the majority of nations, the majority of states are behind on their Paris goals.
Well, way behind. We could actually bring up a map. The Paris commitment, what was it, right? To rein in climate change within 2% of pre-industrial levels by 2030, and a higher goal was 1.5 degrees Celsius. Look at this map here. I know it takes a lot of sort of, deciphering here. There's a legend at the bottom, but basically the thing you should keep your eye on is we're only 1/3 of our way towards global targets on climate. There's not one country in there that's dark green, role model, doing a really good job. Basically, the whole planet is right now failing in meeting up to Paris commitments and has to do a lot better. The gray areas like the U.S., Russia, you see Saudi Arabia down there, they are critically insufficient. That's the absolute worst category. But you don't even have to be, even in the next category, the orange ones, look at that, Canada, almost all of the EU, practically all of the EU, they're all orange as well. China, which we've been lauding lately as, putting a lot of money into phasing out coal-burning plants, trying to go into renewables, which is true, still isn't doing it fast enough. And it's orange, which is orange is highly insufficient. So you could see most of the planet really failing, getting a failing report card when it comes to climate change. And that's really what this conference is about. It's trying to get everyone to wake up, smell the coffee, so to speak, and ramp up those climate actions, because especially the U.S., world's second largest polluter, Donald Trump, has been ripping up the Obama safeguards and protections left and right when it comes to the environment, most recently with a law that allows factories, oil, gas wells to leak methane into the atmosphere. We talk about carbon a lot, not methane as much. Methane is extremely potent as a polluter. This is all something everyone's going to face. The U.S. is going to be an enormous obstacle under Donald Trump unless something changes.